Sorry, I'm unable to share screen. Can you just allow me?
Yeah, you can share your screen now. Try again.
Can you see my screen? Sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Please confirm what you can see on the screen.
Yeah, I can see your this presentation slide.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you all can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Good. Thank you very much. Welcome to today's deep dive session. As we can see on the screen, the session is a deep dive into the world of PMO. PMO, like we know or we probably are aware, is an acronym for Project Management Office. However, there are a lot of things around that we do not understand. So the essence of today's session really is to let everybody see that you all are important in the space of technology, right? Irrespective of your level, irrespective of where you are today in terms of experience, there is something for you, right? That's actually quite important because today when people hear technology, when people hear techie, they tend to think that it's something above their head. You hear things around, I can't code, you hear things around, I don't know how to. They just, because of the general knowledge that people have, a lot of times this knowledge are characterized by a huge amount of misconceptions, right? People do not understand that they are vital, irrespective of the level where they find themselves. So the decision to now grow, right, to now move from one level to the next, that is where the work is, right? So one can choose to remain at a particular level in terms of experience, and you will get the benefits of that level, right? No matter how small or no matter how little your experience may be, you will get that experience, right? One could decide to say, I want to grow. Now, the session today is to say, okay, if I say I want to grow, what is growth like? What does it look like? How am I supposed to move, right, at the end of the day? That is what this meeting would be helping us understand as we move forward. Let me just move this. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So these are the things that we'll be covering, right? We'll start off from generally what language, right, do we speak in this world? This world, when I say this world, I mean the world of technology, right? What are the technologies? What are the languages, right? You find out that a lot of persons who say they are in this space, they don't know how to use the right terms. They don't even understand certain terms. Right. So speaking the language, we'll look at that briefly. The essence of this is not to teach us the language, like I said, but to help us understand the journey from someone with no experience, right, up until you are advanced in your career. whichever track you decide to choose, right? And then we'll be looking at the definition of PMO briefly, right? We'll look at the ecosystem. We have isolated some tracks, knowledge tracks, as we want to call them. We've isolated some knowledge tracks, right? We'll be looking at these knowledge tracks. We'll be looking at what I call an entry ticket, right? The entry ticket is the minimum requirement, right? So what is the foundational skill that you will need? What are those basic skills that you would need? Everyone who wants to operate in this space, what are those basic skills? And then we'll just quickly jump into some of all these tracks that we've identified. And then we look at the roadmap to expertise. We'll look at what the globe is saying about you and I who choose to operate in this space, right? And then we will end the session with the most important topic of all, right? What is making waves now, the buzzword AI, right? And how it impacts our roles, right? For those of us operating in any track within this particular office. So speaking the language, I've tried to put on the screen a couple of words or acronyms, right? So these are acronyms that I'm sure some of us have identified or have heard of before. Are there any acronym on this screen being displayed that we have not heard of before?
Yeah, true. I haven't heard of okay.
Yep. You haven't heard of
I
what?
haven't heard of SLA, the service level agreements. Just hearing it for the first time.
Interesting. Okay. Who else?
Me too. I think that same service level agreement.
Okay, awesome. So, service level agreement. So, if you want to start a partnership with anybody, uh, as a company, right, you want to get the services of another company, or you want to go into partnership, right? You want to design a product, you want to design, probably build a service, or even build a process, right, with a third party, right? What an SLA is really is simply saying what is the expectation, what is my expectation of you. So what your company is expecting the other company to do in terms of performance. What would happen if the company breaches that agreement, right? So the SLA is more or less like a Bible, right? It's a Bible that guides that agreement. It defines what is expected, the expectations of both parties involved, and what happens in the event that certain expectations are not met, right? That is what an SLA is. You understand? So it's as simple and as basic as that. You understand? So that alongside some of all these words are common words that we do here, right? We're speaking with someone will just say, okay, I'm a bit confused. I spoke with a client and then they're telling me that they need the SDLC, and then you'll be looking SDLC. What this one saying? Because the person you are speaking to is assuming that you should have the basic understanding of what SDLC mean. Just give me like 15 seconds, please. Yes, guys, I'm back. Sorry, apologies. Like I told you, I had another meeting running, so my attention was needed. So this and this other, the next sheet, was this moved? Okay, yes, moved. Moved multiple times. Okay, yes. So the next one also has some words. You have IIBA, you have CBAB, you have CCBA, you have ECBA, you have PMI. I'm sure you have access to these slides, right? Where you'll be able to go through these documents and then some of these words. These are not all the words, I'm sure you agree with me, right? But these are just some words that I feel are common, and we should just know for starters. So let's jump into what PMO is. I've tried to make it as basic as possible, right, in my presentation. And what do I mean by basic? So if you look at this, we can define it from 5 major angles, right? We can look at it from an organizational perspective in terms of the structure of the organization. We can look at it from a resource perspective, right, in terms of allocation of resources. We can look at it from a strategy perspective, right? In terms of business objectives, we can look at it as a hub, right? A hub. So like a center for guidance. A hub is where people make reference to where when they are lost, right? Where they need guidance, where they need clarity in a particular process, where they need clarity in something that concerns the organization. That's a hub, right? And then we can look at it from the aspect of a, a success driver, right? A success driver, because the goal of the office is to ensure that whatever project, product, or service, right, that it's being handled, it is delivered by expectation, right? It's delivered as expected. So that's one way we can take a look at it, right? So these are the 5 um, dimensions, right? I categorized PMO as. So a pivotal organizational structure that standardizes governance processes. Just like in Bincom today, you understand, in Bincom today, we can say from a management perspective, it's a PMO office, because each and every one of us on the call today, we have our tasks and we have our responsibilities within Bincom. And whatever we are doing is guided by certain policies that are in place. Now, these policies that are in place is because of what we call organizational governance. I know that sometimes when we're trying to do, especially when we are working with a team that are responsible for UI, right, we hear things around whatever you are using, please use Bincom color. What you are using, use Bincom font, right? Things like that, we call them standardization. So as a PMO office, they want to ensure that what Department A is doing, what Department B is doing, what Department C is doing are all in alignment with what the organization wants, right? Uniformity. That is what that organizational structure is speaking to. Then the one of the resource facilitation, right, is talking about efficiency, basically, right, to ensure that resources are not wasted. Resources in this instance could be human resources, right? It could be time, it could even be finances, right? There are some projects that organizations take up, but at the end of the day, they find out that that project, if they were given a second chance, they would have taken it up, and they probably have spent a lot of money taking up that project only for the project to end up failing. So, from a PMO perspective, as a resource facilitator, is to foresee, right, and give insights that okay, this may not work. Let's drop it. It's not going to work. Let's drop it. It's going to make us waste resources. You understand? And then there is the strategic alignment. Of course, every company has their own. They have their overall strategy. Now it's broken down into individual strategy amongst teams. There should be alignment. Well, whatever the strategy in your various teams, whatever the strategy is within your various teams, it must align with the overall organizational strategy. You understand? So the PMO, that's the project management office, ensures this alignment as well. You understand? And then the central hub, like I explained before, is for guidance. It's also for tracking, right? To track performance. And then the essence of all this is to ensure that projects or products or services are delivered as expected. Now, these are the 6 core tracks that we are looking at. We have project management that focuses on delivery. We want to start a project. Let's ensure that this project is executed based on what the client wants. So the focus of the project management is delivery. Are we together? Now, the focus of program management is benefits. So it concentrates on managing various projects. And why is it doing this? So that whatever team A is doing and whatever team B is doing, it is all beneficial to the organization. There is that overall benefit. And how can it be beneficial? It can only be beneficial if it fits into the strategy of the organization, right? So project management focuses on delivery, program management focuses on benefits, portfolio management is involved in prioritization. When you hear portfolio, it means you have a lot of things you are managing, right? It means you have a lot of projects in this instance that you are managing, or even programs that you are managing, right? And then each bucket, you are looking at each bucket, ensuring that each bucket operates as should. Now, when it comes to prioritizing, right, whatever reason, management may want to come up with a decision that would involve prioritization, it sits with this team, right? So from a strategic point of view, they are prioritizing. That's why the focus here is strategy. Product management, value. That is where we hear the word MVP, right? Value. We want to give our products that would meet the minimum requirement of our customer. So the focus of product management is value, right? Business analysts take a look at the entire business end to end. And what do? They identify gaps. What do? They identify business needs. And then they find a way to interpret these needs, right? And then churn out solutions. It could be technical, it could be non-technical, you understand? But a business analyst approaches a situation from the point of what is the need, what is the gap that is existing here. And then for service management, is basically operational. You understand? It's basically operational. So in a nutshell, these are the 6 core tracks that we are looking at, and these are their individual focus. There's a footnote here that I wrote here. It says these 6 tracks, they all work together, why? To drive organizational success through what? Strategic alignment, through what? Value creation, and through what? Operational excellence. Strategic alignment, we cannot overemphasize that. Value creation, which is also very key, right? Because the essence of defining the strategy is that you create a product of value. You understand? Value creation, and then eventually to ensure that things run as clockwork, which is what people want to call operational excellence. The entry ticket, foundational skills, right? What do I need to have minimum, right? Foundational skills. The soft skills are things we are common. We know communication. It's very important, but yet I think it is the one that people pay very less attention to. We find out that a lot of people, they find it difficult to communicate, right? People find it difficult to communicate. Communication could be verbal or non-verbal, right? Non-verbal communication being communication via email, right? Or other means of communication, but especially email, right? It's very, very important to know how to communicate. Communication is, the reason why I'm staying on it is because it has caused a lot of problem, right? Because if you do not know how to communicate, at the end of the day, you end up creating more problem than you envisaged. And communication is a two-way thing, right? It's one thing to pass information across to someone. It's another thing to know that that person actually got that information, which is where I think the gap exists, right? People just go ahead and pass information. The other person hasn't gotten it. and yet they think they have communicated. You understand? I can come here now and I'll be speaking verbose words. I'll be speaking big words and just trying to impress. At the end of the day, everybody will just say, "What has he said? He just called us to waste our time. Please let's move on because I didn't get anything from what he said." In my mind, I would think I've communicated, right? But it's a two-way thing. And for you to be an effective project, product, service, business analyst, or whatever form of manager that is within this track, you must learn how to communicate, right? Let me bring it home to our Slack in Binko. Slack is our channel for communication. But how many of us really know how to use that channel? How many of us really know how to use that channel? There's this general saying that they say in Nigeria here, that what you are looking for in Sokoto, right, is in your trousers. You Yoruba call it Shokoto, right? It's in your trousers, right? Now, you are saying that I want to learn how to communicate, and we have a simple tool in Vincom, Slack. We have not even mastered how to use Slack. We think it is not important. Right? We think it's not important. Let me even give us a bit of a story, right? There was a job role I was trying to apply for a while back. And one of the requirements for that job role was efficiency in the use of Slack. You should know how to use Slack. They didn't even talk about any other thing. Right? You should know how to use Slack. Sorry, give me a minute or less, please. Okay, so I'm back. So please, while we are learning this, right, it's important to take certain things with us as assignments, right? I've talked about communication, which is Slack, right? Ask yourself, judge yourself, do you know how to even use Slack today in Lincoln, right? How well can you communicate? The other one is stakeholder management. There's the leadership, there's the critical thinking bit. So for stakeholder management, I'll just give an example, give a life example, and then I'll breeze through the other aspects of this communication to let us understand the importance of stakeholder management. So there was a project that had been on in the place I currently work. The project had been on since 2000 and since 2020, late 2021 into 2022, right? That project had been on. And the external stakeholders, right, that my organization was working with to ensure that that project came live, they had lost confidence because they had changed project managers on that project multiple times. So they had changed project managers on that project multiple times, and it was a problem. They brought me on board the project earlier this year, right, in January, as early as January 3rd. That was when I came on board the project. And stakeholder management, sorry, I think I've gone forward. Stakeholder management is something I saw as what I needed to deal with for me to be successful. Because restoring the confidence of your stakeholders is very, very important. Remember, I said these guys had lost confidence, right? So my first work for me was to first of all restore their confidence and assure them that there will no longer be any project manager after me on that particular project, right? That was my own objective. You get, that was my own objective, to make sure that this project went live. Sorry. Oh. Sorry, just give me a few seconds, please. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, I hope this should end very soon, in the next 10 minutes or so. Please, so bear with me. So I had to restore this guy's the stakeholders' confidence, letting them know that while I understand their pain, that this project had lingered, it was important for them to work with me if we were to ensure that this project would eventually become successful. You understand? And stakeholder management has a lot. There is a lot about stakeholder management. There is a lot about it, and we have opportunity in Beacom to learn how to do that. We have little projects that we are handling in Beacom. Some of us have major projects that we are handling in Beacom. And stakeholder management is a skill that you really want to learn with your project that you are handling, or the product that you're handling, or the service that you are handling, right? So please, let's take that very important. Leadership, everyone is a leader. Everyone is a leader. If you're not leading a group of persons, you are leading yourself, right? Everyone is a leader. So if you cannot lead yourself, you can't lead people. If you cannot lead yourself, you can't lead people. That's why this session is talking about from moving from techie to being a professional or an expert, right? As a techie, as someone with little experience or no experience, if you cannot lead yourself, you will not be able to lead people. And it starts from your daily life, how you prioritize. That would also affect how you prioritize work when it's given to you. You understand? Then critical thinking, that is also very important. How are you able to break down complex situations? How are you able to break down complex problems into something very small? Understand that problems today, no matter how big they are, they started off as something very small. Probably someone ignored something or someone did something they shouldn't have done. But it starts from a very small thing, and then it escalates to something very big. So these are some of the soft skills that at the foundational level, everyone should have. Then we are moving to the technical skills. At the foundational level, we should understand the basics of software development lifecycle, right? You should understand the basics of data analysis. It doesn't really mean you should know how to use a lot of codes for this. But when you are given a data, you should be able to interpret it, right? You should be able to interpret it. When you are given data to interpret, you should be able to interpret, no matter how small, right? You should be able to interpret. Don't be scared of numbers. Don't be scared of data. Try to eradicate that fear. If you currently have that fear, try to eradicate that fear, right? And then documentation and technical writing is also a technical skill that at a foundational level you should build. Then essential tools, you have the likes of Jira, the likes of Asana, the likes of Trello. You understand? These are also essential tools. So quickly now, we're moving forward to the first track. And my screen just moved for me. Thank you. Thank you. So the first track, project management track. So project management track focuses on execution and completion, highlighted, right? Execution and completion of individual projects within a defined parameter or defined parameters, right? Now, project managers are expected to deliver outputs within a given time, within a given budget, and up to a certain standard, within a given time, within a given budget, and up to a certain standard. So your resources as a project manager, your time, the budget in this instance may not only be finance, even resources that you have, the people that you are using to work, your team members, they are also part of the budget. And then the quality of your output, right? These are the resources that you work with as a project manager, right? Now, essential skills within this track, you have task management skill, team leadership, progress tracking, risk management. These are essential skills. You find out that a lot of project managers don't even know a lot about or even know anything about risk management. And that is why a lot of projects fail, right? Because you were not able to have foresight into, okay, what would happen eventually? These are risks. Now, every project has their risks. Risks, the presence of risks doesn't negate the execution of that project, right? The presence of risks doesn't negate the execution. Now that there are risks, what you should do as a risk project manager who has understanding of risk is that you should put in measures to mitigate these risks. You should put in measures to mitigate these risks. You understand? Now, what are the key responsibilities? Key responsibilities include resource allocation, team coordination, project planning and execution, of course, risk management. And these are some of the key certifications. This slide is just giving us a general overview of the project management track. But when we now want to talk about what the journey looks like for a project manager, right? You have the entry level, foundational level, intermediate level, advanced level, an expert execution or executive level. How many persons do we have on the call today? I'm seeing 3 persons. Dima, please correct me. We have 3 persons, right? Apart from myself.
Yes.
Right. Okay, good.
They are
So,
joining and dropping off.
okay, so for those that are on the call, if you are asked what level are you at entry, foundational, intermediate, advanced, or an expert? What would you say? Let me start from Damilola. Hello, Damilola. Hello, Damilola. Can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. So if you were asked, what is your level in project? Are you a project manager, first of all?
No,
Okay, you're not. Excellent. So what track are you?
digital marketing.
Digital marketing. Digital marketing is I think it used to be one of the tracks in PMO within Bincom, right? But I think they're trying to bifurcate them and make them stand alone, right? So digital marketing. Well, project managers work with you're ubiquitous. You know what that means? You're everywhere, right? So you work with
Yes,
project
yes,
managers, you work with product managers, you work with service managers. Okay, that's fine.
exactly.
Yeah, so you're kind of everywhere. I wanted to ask if you were in the project management track. I wanted you to rate yourself. Looking at what is on the screen, right? If you were asked which level, right? If you rate yourself as an entry, foundational, intermediate, or so, but that's fine. Thanks for responding. Right. So
Yes,
for
sir.
project management, there is the entry level, of course, which is 0 to 1 year. You have the project assistants, you have the PMO intern, you have project support officers, right? They also have their key responsibilities. It grows like that. So within a year, one can fall within entry level, but depending on how you decide to grow, you can move into foundational after the first year. Then you start handling certain projects. You become a project manager, albeit a junior project manager. In fact, some companies won't even call it junior; they will just even call you a project manager, right? But if you look at the hierarchy within the organization, you're a junior project manager, but they won't even put junior there. But by reason of your experience and your skill, right, and the kind of project you are handling, it's a junior, what's it called, junior project manager job title or role, even though that is not written in your letter, right? And then depending on how you grow on what you do, right, you become still a project manager. So the beauty about project management is you can have multiple project managers in an organization, but what differentiates them, how you would know that this is a senior project manager, right, is apart from the job title, right, the kind of projects they handle. Right, the kind of projects they handle. At the foundational level, you could see a project manager being supervised by another project manager. So that would tell you that the person being supervised is a junior project manager. You understand, right? And then from there you have advanced, and then you have expert. This is the same thing across all track. But what one needs to do is, like I mentioned at the start, for you to grow, you need to put in the work. You can decide to remain in entry level for as long as you want to be. You could be 10 years as an entry level person, even though we've said that what is required ideally is 0 to 1 year. Then put in the work, you are moving up. If you don't move up, you still be there 10 years, you are still in entry level because you have not learned the basics that would help you grow to the next level. Program management track it concentrates on managing different projects at the same time, right, to achieve what benefits. It's not just looking at one project, it's a program, and it's a program. It's a program. So you are looking at multiple projects and how it benefits the organization. We are looking at multiple projects and how it benefits the organization. That's what the program management focus is, or the track is. And there are specialized competencies around that, where you have benefit management, you have integration. So integration speaks to you are coordinating interdependencies between projects. So you are looking at project A and project B. What is the connection between them? How do I manage what they have in common so that one is not ripping the other one off? That's coordinating interdependencies, right? You are running across multiple projects that require similar resource. So how do I manage resource amongst these projects such that one is not doing well at the detriment or at the expense of another one, right? And then, of course, there's that strategic focus. And then there's the performance measurement bit. So project management is about seeing the forest for the trees, ensuring individual projects contribute to the broader strategic vision. Every project within a program is important. Every project within a program is important. You are not supposed to focus on one project alone, probably because that one, you like that one, or you like the way the project is, and you are a program manager. You just deviate from being a program manager to a project manager automatically because of your affinity for one particular project, right? Every project is important. And why? Because a program manager looks at the big picture, right, from a benefits point of view. And the journey is as presented, right? There's the entry level still, there's the intermediate level, there's the advanced level, and executive level. Now, all these levels, all these growth pattern, it's because it's dependent on your ability to learn, your ability to put in the work, your ability to get certified. You understand? So you can look at yourself today and tell yourself, okay, this is the path I want to go through, right? What do I need? You are having that key today. This is what you need, right? Do your research and get the list here is not exhaustive, right? When you go online, you see a lot. You see lots more. You understand? So what do you need to do? You understand? Do what you need to do and ensure that you are growing. The hope is by this time next year, right? Everybody on the call or everyone that will be listening to this much later would have moved a step or two from where they are today. That's the goal. That's the goal. That you judge yourself, where are you today? This is where I am. This is where I want to get to. This is what I need to get to where I want to get to. Let me put in the work. So you put in the work. So by this time next year, you are finding out that you are no longer the same, right? You are no longer where you used to be. So that's what we need to look at. That is what we need to focus on. Yeah, so that's for me, that's my admonition, right? Why we continue. Let's take a view at our lives, where we are in our career. Let's look at where we want to get to. Let's understand what we need to get there. Let's plan how we would get the things we need to get there. And let's also plan how we start using what we need to get to where we want to get to. So that by next year we will be different. You understand? By next year we'll be different. We should always be growing in our career, especially within this particular space. Then the next track is, oh, I don't know if it's moved from someone's end yet, but it hasn't. Portfolio, yeah, portfolio management. Portfolio management. So what are the core responsibilities? Selection, prioritization, resource allocation, and of course, strategic alignment, right? Selection. So you are evaluating projects, you are looking at projects, and what you are looking at within this project from a portfolio manager point of view is alignment with the business objective, right? We can all practice portfolio management in our little space today. Ask yourself, what I'm doing today, how does it align with Beacom's overall objective? In fact, do we even know Beacom's overall objective? That's where it starts from. They give you a task to do. Ask why. That is how you grow into these things. They give you a task to do. You ask why. Please, why should I do this? What would they help me? How would it benefit me? How would it benefit the organization? I want to understand. Because if I have the bigger picture, right, then it will help me when I start executing that task. So as a portfolio manager, when you are making selection, you are making these selections based on the strategy of the organization, and so you are trying to ensure that your selection aligns with the organizational strategy. Of course, while you are selecting, you are prioritizing. Think economics, they call it scale of preference, right? You're itemizing these things based on their level of importance, right? You're itemizing them based on their level of importance. Score scale of preference. Can you confirm that you can still hear me? I just noticed all my devices just went frozen. Hope
Yes,
I'm
I can
still
still
up.
hear you. Yes, I can still
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So you are prioritizing these things based on importance. You are ranking them, and projects are ranked apart from strategic objective, right? Projects could be aligned in objective, but as a portfolio manager, you want to look further than that, right? I have 6 projects. 4 of them are aligned. 2 are not aligned. I drop the 2 that are not aligned. The 4 that are aligned, how do I select which one to pick up first? That is what prioritization is speaking to. All right, you consider different factors. You consider the impact to customer. You consider the return. You consider how long the return would come in, right? Sorry, please give me. I don't know. Oh, it was moved again. Okay. Yeah, apologies for that again. You have my full attention now. I think I've closed out on that particular. I'm good now. Yes. So prioritization, resource allocation, and strategic alignments. These are the goals. So I was talking about you have six projects, you drop two, you have four. And there are several reasons why, there are several factors you consider when you want to prioritize. You look at resources, you look at returns. In returns, what are you really looking at? You look at how long it will take for you to start getting returns, right? You also look at cost, right? Cost of implementation. That is also a factor you also consider, cost of implementation, right? Value to the customer, urgency. There are a lot of factors that the portfolio manager considers when it comes to making this particular decision, and that would inform how resources will be allocated, right? That would inform how resources will be allocated. And of course, you heard me mentioning things like returns, right? So these are skills that a portfolio manager should have: how to calculate return on investment, how to calculate net present value. That's what they call NPV, right? How to manage budgets, how to do cost benefit analysis. I know that we do a lot of SWOT analysis in Bincom. How many of us have done SWOT here? I've had the opportunity to do SWOT analysis in Bincom. Anyone? Hello? Anyone?
Yeah, we did it today too.
Oh, okay, interesting. SWOT analysis, right? So that's just one of the analysis. So strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, right? So you can apply that analysis to really almost anything, right? To anything. So you build your analytical skills. Remember, we talked about analysis as some of the foundational skills, right? So for a portfolio manager, under the portfolio management track, right, you cannot throw that away. It's very important because you'll be working with a lot of projects and you need to know how to analyze costs, how to look at benefits, how to look at impact, how to look at returns, right? All these things will help determine how you would select a particular project. The track is the same thing. So when I say the same thing now, I don't mean it's exactly the same thing, but the information on the track is exactly, so the growth it's pretty much the same thing, right? The information remains the same. And what is that information? If you must grow in any track, first of all, you ask yourself, where do you want to get to as an entry person, right? And today I'm on ground zero. I want to get to ground 10. How do I get to ground 10? I want to start having this particular title to my name. How do I get to this particular level? How do I grow from being just a junior portfolio analyst to a head of PMO to a senior portfolio manager? What do I need to do? And trust me, right? There's really no time. There's really no time because the space is changing and changing very fast. You get to organizations, you see people who are very, very young, yet they're heading departments, and you wonder, how did this happen? How did they get there? Right? It's because they started these things on time. They knew what they wanted, they went for it, they pursued it, and they got it on time. Right? So don't just see yourself as, I'm just a project assistant, I'm just a project manager in Bincom, or I'm just managing maybe two teams, and you think that is where, unless you feel that is where you want to stop, right? But I want to believe that is not the case for those of us on the call and those of us that will listen in later, right? I want to believe that is not the case, right? We want to grow, and the growth starts from now. It starts from now, and you need to define. In fact, the tech space is a space where you can define how you grow. It's that is that is that subjective, right? You can decide how you grow. You can tell yourself, I don't want to grow. I want to be on one level. I want to be on the intermediate level. I want to be on the entry level. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. And I'm still going to emphasize that we have a very, very good, we are standing on a very good platform, which is the Bincom platform. Bincom has given us the platform. Bincom has given everyone the platform. And this is me speaking honestly, right? Because I find out that we do not appreciate the platform that Bincom has given. The kind of growth that we are looking for, really, Bincom has it. And if we don't take the task that we are given here in Bincom seriously, we will not grow. That's just the truth. There are persons who have leveraged on this platform and have gone to big places doing big things, right? There are persons who have not taken advantage of this platform and then they're paying the price for it. You understand? So whatever progression you want to take in your career path, from the entry level to executive level, there are skills you need to develop. There are certifications you need to obtain, right? If you do not do any of these things, you will not grow, irrespective of the track. Now, product management is another track that we are all familiar with. Everybody wants to be a product manager. You have a lot of people now today putting product management in their title, product manager in their title, right? And for some persons, that is where it stops. So that is where it stops. Nothing more. Product manager, and that's all. Because if you ask them to drill further now into their growth within that space, you find that they're not growing. They're not growing. Your responsibilities, key responsibilities as a product manager, right? Within the product management space, key responsibilities include defining product vision and strategy, understanding customer needs and preferences, managing product backlogs and roadmaps, ensuring products deliver business value. Understanding customer needs and preferences. It is the role of the product management track, that product management office, to understand what the customer's needs are. So you build your product based on customers' needs. There are various models that organizations use, right? Some organizations build products and then they bring it to the customer for customer to then use, and then they look at how that product will grow. While some organizations build products from the customer's needs, they first go to the customer through either survey, interviews, whatever sessions, several sessions with customers, right? And then based on the sessions with customer, they define the customer's needs, identify the product that the customer may need, and then they build from there. That's the other way of going about it. You understand, as a product manager. So the product manager is concerned about the customer, right? The customer. What I'm building, how does it impact my customer? How does it help my customer? That is the focus of the product management office, right? And there are various areas of expertise. Amongst them, I've just listed 4 here, right? You have product strategy, which speaks to aligning products with the goal of the organization. You have the UI UX design, of course, creating an intuitive, a user experience that is top-notch, right? User experience that there's this thing called the wow experience. Everybody wants a product to have that wow experience. That is the goal. That is the goal. And if you build your expertise as a product manager around this space, you would always get that wow feedback from your customers. So it's called the wow experience. So there is a technical development bit which speaks to understanding product architecture. It's not just saying that I have a product. Do you know how the product works? When there is a fault in the system, do you know how to fix it? You may not be the one to fix it, but do you know how to fix it? Right? Being the person to actually fix it, and knowing how to fix it are two different things, right? As a product manager, you should know how to fix your product. You may not have the technical skills to fix it, but you should know what is required to fix a product. So that when your tech guys are fixing it, your technical or developers are fixing the product, you are properly guiding them, right? So that they don't take, I know we are always ringing, take initiative, right? You are guiding them so that they don't over initiate. I'll use that language, and then they give you something that you end up not recognizing, right? So your product, understand your product architecture is also very key. And here we have stakeholder management staring us at the eyes again, right? Looking at us in the face, right? Stakeholder management also very, very important. Product managers often utilize various tools, right? The one common in Bincom is agile methodology. There are a lot of conversations around that, but we won't go into that now. But agile methodology is one of them, right? It's what is common. It used to be very common, right? But I think there are some changes that are happening within the space now, and that may affect that later. Now, this is a journey, all right, for product management. This is a journey. You have your product interns, you have the associate product managers, technical business analysts, you have the product owner, all this is based on the proficiency, right? The proficiency, also the years of experience. You understand? There's the leading role, there's the learning role, right? There's the leading role, there's the learning role. Learning role, you are starting from the scratch. At the expert level, you begin to lead, right? Even though as a leader, you are still learning because you need to still be updated. Things are changing. A lot of things are changing. Product management today is not the same as it's not the way it was a year ago, not even 2 years, a year ago, right? It's changing, and we need to change with it to stay relevant. We need to change with it to stay relevant, and you need to do your research for you to understand how you can fit into the entire picture, right? So this is the career progression. Of course, you have the skills that you require, and then the suggested certifications across years and across proficiency level, right? From being a beginner to being an expert, everything, there are skills that are required, there are certifications that you need. This is to guide us. Are we together? This is to guide us. So I'm sure these resources will be made available, right? This presentation will be made available. So it's to guide you. If today you're confused or you're lost or you're not so sure how you would grow, right? The essence of this is to guide, right? Is to guide us. And then the next, we'll be looking at the business analyst track, the BA, powerful people, all right? The BA. Like we said, the BA are driven by they're driven by needs, right? They're driven by needs. Now, where you have the technical world and you have the business world, the bridge that connects them together is the business analyst. Is the business analyst. Where you have businesses that need something. In fact, sometimes businesses don't even know what they need. That's the beauty as a business analyst. You should be able to help to guide businesses into what they need. You guide your customer into what they need. That's what the business also means. Could be your customer, right? You guide them into what they need. It's not what's it called now? It's not you being in your own world as a business analyst and you are saying that you are the one, you just want to work on your own. Business analysts can never work in isolation. They are called business analysts for a reason, right? Not just analysts. Business analysts, they are analyzing a business. And once they've analyzed a business, they've been able to identify the gap of that business. Then they tell the business, we're going to help you bridge this gap. We're going to help you fill this need. This is what you need to close this gap. You need a solution, you need a process, and then you have the technical guys, right? The developers, right? So what the business analyst does is to bridge that gap, interpret the business needs into something that the developers can work with. That's what they do. They interpret the business needs into something the developers can work with. That's why I've called them a bridge, right? That's why I've called them a bridge. Now, what are the core responsibilities, right? Requirements gathering and analysis, like I've explained, creating user stories and specifications. They facilitate workshops. So by speaking to both business and technical and by speaking both business and technical languages, these guys, they ensure project outcomes meet the user needs while maintaining technical feasibility, because they are serving as that bridge. Whatever outcome they are presenting is always on point, because they didn't create those things in isolation. They created it based on engagement. They created it based on collaboration. They created it based on conversations with the business to understand what the business would need, right? So there's a step here that shows a pathway to expertise, but I've already I kind of expatiated on this in the next slide that talks about the skills, that talks about the certification. I don't know if I should just take a pause here to just feel the temperature of the room. I don't know if anyone has any question before I continue. If you don't have question, you can say no question, and then I can continue. I've been speaking for a while now, just to be sure we are following. Any question? If there are no questions, you can say no question. If there are questions, you ask.
All right, do you have any
No question
questions?
from my end.
All right.
Damilola, are you good?
Same here.
Okay, awesome. All right. So the business analyst's career progression pretty much the same thing, right? For you to grow, these are some of the skills that you require, right, across each level. And then these are some of the suggested certifications you get. The certification varies. It's a lot. You can go online, you see them. There are a lot, right? But the lesson to pick from here is there is no growth that is accidental, right? No growth is accidental. You didn't just wake up and say, hey, I'm not a professional. Yesterday I slept as a beginner. Today I'm waking up and I'm an expert. It doesn't happen, right? So growth is deliberate. Development is deliberate. You understand? It's deliberate. And for you to do that, we have been able to curate some of these resources to help us and to guide us in our journey to career growth and progression. Right. The next one is service management. Service management. This is something that is very important because in fact, this actually determines at the end of the day, for projects or products that are delivered, this determines the post-deployment performance of that product or of that project. Where this is missed, whatever you have delivered as a product or as a project is a waste. It becomes a waste, right? Because of service. Because of service. So service management ensures effective delivery and support. You are providing support. You are providing support. I don't know how many of us have had I've had situations before where we are stuck and then we pick up a phone to call probably one of our network providers, or we call, let's say, HMO offices, or we call even the bank, or we call the pension, and you're at that point you're stranded and then you needed something urgently, you needed help urgently, and then they are non-responsive. They are non-responsive. Automatically, it affects your perception of that particular organization. It affects your perception. It affects how you would eventually use them. When we are saying the word stickiness, customer stickiness, it is tied to service management. A very efficient and effective service management framework, right, is directly proportional to customer stickiness. Right, so you have more customer stickiness, you have more customer retention, where you have a very good service management framework, right? And even in this service management, people can grow. You can grow into it as well. If this is the field you want to stick to, you want to take this particular track, there is also career progression in this particular track, right? There's also career progression in this particular track. So there's a must know for every techie, right? The general roadmap to expertise must know for everyone. Whether there's a journey of foundational learning, it moves to hands-on experience, it moves to specialization, it moves to mentorship, it moves to continued learning and innovation. This, at a glance, just gives you the 5-step path from foundational knowledge to being a specialized expert in any of the PMO tracks, right? This foundational learning. This is where a lot of people miss it. What they should learn, when they should learn what they should learn, they don't take out time to learn. And at the end of the day, when the next step comes to come and do hands-on, they mess up because they did not take their foundation seriously, right? Foundational learning. We have someone here who is in digital marketing. Question is, do you understand the rudiments of digital marketing at a foundational level? If you're competing with those across the globe, globally, right? Do you have that foundational basics, right, for you to stand with your peers within this bracket years, that's 0 to 2 years? Are you well equipped at the foundational level? How is your learning like across all project, all PMO tracks, right? How is your learning like? For some of us, we have this sense of assumed learning. We assume that we know until a situation comes when we're supposed to now demonstrate capacity or demonstrate knowledge, we now mess up because first of all, there was no knowledge there to begin with. So what can you demonstrate when it wasn't even there to begin with? Right? So I'm dwelling on learning, foundational learning, because it is very important. Nobody becomes an innovator at the end of the day, which is the last stage here in the track, without learning. Without learning. Right? So case in point is our Bincom Academy, right? Where we have the Montessori approach to learning. The fact that we are not being told A is for apple, right? B is for ball, right? C is for car, right? Right? We are given, the structure is such that you learn by doing. When you're given tasks, when you're given assignments, how many of us take out the time to go and learn and do these things and read up? We just take it for granted because here is Montessori approach, which is a very effective way of learning. At the same time, if taken for granted, it's a very dangerous way to learn if you are not serious with it. At the end of the day, you end up not learning anything, right? But if you're serious with it, you learn very well and you become really, really good. So when you're moving to the next stage, which is a hands-on experience, you are performing more than your peers, right? Because you took the foundational learning seriously. Right? From hands-on experience, persons have seen that you are doing very well. Even you have seen your capacity that you are doing very well. You have done a lot of things because you have learned a lot of things. The next stage will not be, I want to specialize. Right? I want to specialize. You become a specialist in any of the track. A product manager guru, a project manager guru, a portfolio manager guru. You're good in your field because you're a specialist, right? While still learning, because the learning never really stops. That is why if you look at the blue icon there, it says foundational learning, not just learning. Because across all track, there is learning. Across all track, there is learning. It didn't just say learning, but foundational learning. Right? So meaning there are things you need to know at the foundation level. But across all track, I will emphasize this, you must learn. Even though you are a specialist, you must learn. And why must you continue to learn? Because the world is changing. The world is changing. New information come up every day. Your skill that you think is relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow. And it doesn't just happen overnight. The world gives us a sign. There's a sign. If you're in that your space, there's a sign. You'll be seeing news, you'll be seeing things. If you are not conversant, if you are not current, there is always a sign. So for those who are able to read the signs, then they prepare ahead. So when the change comes, they are not taken aback or they are not surprised, right? So as a specialist, you still learn. Then you advance to mentoring people, to mentoring individuals, to mentoring teams, right? As a leader. And then there's the room to continue to now innovate. You've learned so much, you start innovating, start bringing in new things, contributing, giving back to the tech community. That is what that level actually speaks to. All right, so let's see what knowledge track in Bincom looks like. So this is what it looks like in Bincom. This is what it looks like in Bincom, right? There are foundational rules here in Bincom, right? And then across each track, there's the multi-year career trajectory, how you grow in the product management track, program management track, or project management track. And then there are other possible roles that one can take, right? So this is the Bincom Dev Center team member career trajectory, right? So you can look at these things, say, where am I here? Okay, I'm here as a product manager. I want to grow into a senior product manager. We have things on these slides already, skills that you need to learn, certifications that you need to get. We've already put them together in this document that would help you grow. So before we move to the next slide that speaks to global opportunities, I want to ask a question, right? And my question is, which sector requires, is this techie journey relevant to? That's my question. Which sector is this techie journey relevant to? This journey of from tech to being an expert, in which sector do you think it is relevant? Anyone can speak, but I would love for everyone to speak since we're not much.
From my end, I would say like it's also involves the education sector. That's one.
Education sector.
And then the yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Yes, somebody else. Which sector? Yes, 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 yes.
Tech business.
Tech business. So what do you mean by tech business?
Like tech, and then there's also business.
Okay. Okay. Yes. This Damilola has dropped off. Or is it me? Has she dropped off? I'm looking at the names. I'm not seeing. Is Damilola still with us?
No,
Just
she dropped
choosing.
off.
Okay, I know BC just joined. I'm seeing BC, Ola BC here. Okay,
You
so
also
that's
have
fine.
yeah, we also have the like the sciences, the health sector. So I think
Health sector. Thank you
yeah,
very much. So what this means is that there is room for everyone everywhere. That's what it's saying. There is room for everyone everywhere. Even here, I didn't even put education, but there is in education, right? There's room for everyone everywhere. You cannot say because it's tech. And the reason why this is important, right, is in your job search, it would help you. Some persons are limited in their job search because they think that tech is only related to, they'll be looking for fintechs, they'll be looking for any technology company. If there's no tech in the name of the company, if the company is not building one kind of big thing, they will not apply, right? Because they think that they are not relevant in that space. But aside from the technology space, there is the retail space, there is manufacturing, education, healthcare, finance, all these sectors, right? PMO skills are sought after. In all these sectors, PMO skills are sought after. So it's not just tied to one particular sector. It's not just tied to one particular sector. So if you're searching for opportunities, right, cast your net wide. Right? Cast your net wide. The essence of this session is to help us start thinking globally. Right? Start thinking globally. Across the globe, there are a lot of opportunities. So how do I fit into these opportunities? What am I doing today? How can I apply what I'm doing today in health? How can I apply what I'm doing today in finance? How can I apply it in the retail business? How can I apply it in corporate businesses, SMEs, MSMEs? How can I apply it in manufacturing, in telecoms? So you think, right? You think, because the skills are what are relevant everywhere. And the beauty about PMO certifications is that they are globally recognized, right? They are globally recognized. That is why we say that we should strive to get certified. Strive to get certified. They are globally recognized. Your PMO journey is like this. This is summarized in this four simple step. How do I start? That's the question, right? We've been talking. Someone is okay, how do I start? Where do I start from? Step one, select your track. Select your track. We've talked about various tracks. Tell yourself, which one am I interested in? What is my strength? Right? So you select your track. That's the first step. Then the next one, foundational course. Remember the slide before this, I think we talked about foundational learning. So you start with an introductory certification, something to build your knowledge base. So grow first, just start learning, foundational, start learning. You have selected a track. What do you need to know about this track at the minimum before you go and find a mentor? Remember, why people love being mentors, right? It's good to be mentor to someone who is showing progress. If you want to go and make someone to be your mentor, don't just go empty-handed. Go with proof that you have worked. Go with proof that you have done your research. Go with proof that you're learning. You are in a learning phase. Don't just go and say, hey, hello, mentor, I chose a product management track. Oh. Okay, how can I help you? I want you to mentor me now. Okay, what do you know about product management? I don't know. I don't really know anything about it, though. But I just chose it because I'm seeing everybody saying product manager, product manager. Really? You are telling your mentor that? That's someone who has not done research. That's someone who has not taken foundational learning seriously. right? So you do your foundational learning, you find a mentor, right? You connect with someone who's experienced, that's your mentor in any of the track that you have chosen, right? And then you specialize and you continue to grow from there. Now, there's a footnote here. It says the power of the PMO lies in its ability to do or drive organizational success. Projects deliver tangible change, programs realize strategic benefits, and portfolios ensure alignment with what corporate strategy. Now, this brings us to the end of the first part of this session. The second part is quite short. Remember, I said that the session will divide it into two parts, right? The first part is what we've been talking about since, and the second part is the buzzword that everybody is shouting, AI, 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 right? So we'll just briefly, right, take a look at the impact of AI in the role of the PMO journey. Right, take a look at the impact of AI in the role of modern PMO roles. How people are moving from being reactive to being strategic. That's what it's helping us do today. So let me share a quick experience with us. Right, so where I work, right, I was having conversations with my direct supervisor, and then he said he gave me a quick task to do. It was quite late, right? And then he just called me and then he gave me the tasks. And when he gave me this task, I asked him, I said, the boss, when do you need this delivered? He said, he looked at me, said, I need it like yesterday. I need like yesterday. I know that you can do it fast. I know you used to turn out things fast. You and your AI too. Just find a way to do it and give me something quick. Right. So he realized that I work with AI tool a lot. When he gives me stuff to do, I have learned how to. There's something they call best use of AI. Right. Best use of AI will teach you how to use AI without compromising the company information. Right. AI is there to guide you. AI is not there to think for you. You are supposed to think for yourself. AI is there to just help you expand or fine tune your thought process. To better put it, right? It helps fine tune your thought process. And I've noticed that tasks that would take you that should ordinarily take you maybe 7 hours, right? If you're good with various AI tools, depending on wherever you find yourself, right, you can crash that time to as little as 5-10 minutes. That's how important it is. So there is no way we can talk about global relevance and not mention how AI helps the PMO roles. So don't just tell yourself, I'm just a product manager. You're a product manager, you don't know how to use AI to churn out backlogs. You don't know how to use AI to churn out user stories. You waste time. AI has helped people manage multiple products. Right? Before now, people will tell you I'm managing just one product. I'm a product manager for one product. I decide to write this business case, decide to write this technical documentation. I'm writing one technical documentation. It's taking me almost 1 month to complete a technical documentation. But with AI now, as a product manager, you can be running multiple technical documentations and managing multiple products. Right? So it is very important. Let's get friendly with it. Let's get friendly with the little ones we know, the ones that are common that we know. Let's get friendly with them. You understand? Let's search for more tools that are coming up and let's learn how to use them. I would emphasize without compromising your information or without compromising the company's information. That is what is called best use of AI. Right? You don't just dump everything on AI. You don't just copy everything and dump or carry every attachment and dump. That is not being efficient in your use of AI. So AI has its impact on PMO roles, right? For the product manager, you see that there's something called AI-driven product discovery, where you use AI to determine user behavior, to analyze user behavior, to do certain predictions, and based on these predictions, you are defining a product. What will be taking a very long time, I want to gather survey, I want to do this, I want to do that. With AI, you can study human behavior analyze this customers' behavior, look at customer pattern, look at the trend, and based on this, you can now churn out a product. That's what AI-driven product discovery is talking about. Smarter road mapping, yes. So no time to start drawing and sketching and doing. With that, you can prioritize. And whatever you're doing in your roadmap, your effort, your cost, everything you are planning becomes faster. Not just fast alone, it becomes smarter. Right? And then we now have ways to simulate, ways to test all these things. AI can even help you test. Right? Before it goes to the big markets, just fumble internally first. Make the mistake in a very small and controlled environment first. AI can help you do that. AI can help you say, okay, this product, let me give it this little, let me test it in this controlled environment first before exposing it. And then with AI also, you can have enhanced customer insights. These are just some of the ways it impacts the role of a product manager. For the project manager, it can also help you detect risks. It can help project manager predict, make certain plans from the future. So looking at the future from today, that's more or less forecasting, right? You can have reporting as a manager. You have that today, people use automation on their dashboards. You have dashboards that churn out reports, right? You tell the bot when you want this report out, the kind of report that you need, the kind of people that you want to get this report, and then the frequency. So it just becomes automated. That's automated reports as a project manager. So your stakeholders are always informed as and when due. Not that they'll tell you today, I got your report, tomorrow I didn't get your report. Why? You understand? So this is one of the ways that AI can help a project manager. AI-assisted workload balancing and utilization recommendations to prevent burnout and bottlenecks to help you. That is under resource optimization. That is under resource optimization, right? So for project manager, predictive planning, automated reporting, risk detection, and resource optimization. Portfolio manager, of course, it helps them prioritize their portfolio. Just all you need to do is to just tell it, rank it based on certain things, right? You give the indices, various indices or criteria that you want, and then it helps you rank, right? You don't have to start thinking too much or racking your head, racking your brain, right? So there's a scenario testing that you can also do as a portfolio manager, right? It's called what if simulations. The scenario testing that can also help you do. AI insights, AI helps highlight initiatives, delivering, it helps highlight initiatives delivering measurable value and ensuring accountability. That is under value realization. And then, of course, performance intelligence. How is my portfolio doing? How is my portfolio doing? It gives you that insight. It gives you that insight. This is how they're employing it today. Then for the BA, of course, requirements automation. Before you write now, it's now very, very easy to document. Technical documentation made easy. Process mapping made easy. Data analysis made easy. Even communication made easy. I'm sure a lot of us today in some of the meetings that we do, you have these note takers, right? When you do, at the end of the day, it gives you a summary of the meeting, tells you asks you how you want your meeting to go, and then you tell it what you want, and then it does it for you. Today we are doing that on Zoom. There are also other platforms on Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams also have that, right? To improve communication, right? To improve communication. So AI is very, very important. AI is very, very important. Generally, it has helped to transform the PMO space. It has helped to transform the PMO space. People are no longer doing administrative work. Now it's now strategic work, because the little tasks that people can do that wastes people's time and resources that you can channel to other things, right? AI can take that responsibility for you. Then you move on to higher things, higher strategic thinking from a PMO office perspective, from a PMO perspective, right? So because of all these things, you make more informed decisions, you make better decisions, and then you are more efficient, right? You are more efficient because of the ability to learn, right? It also helps you. It also helps the PMO office, right? There's always this room to learn. Before I wrap up this um, session, just by way of recap, right? The journey to expertise starts from now, right? The journey to expertise starts from now, starts from today. Whatever you want to be tomorrow in any of the track starts from now. That decision starts from now. And the tools to help you get there, the tools are available, right? The tools to help you garner the skills that you need, those tools are available. The certifications to help you are also available. Yes, I know some of them may be expensive, but there are also some that are not too expensive. You can also start from the free resources. Look for the ones that are free, right? And then you can pick it up from there. As you grow and you are able to afford the so expensive ones, then you do them. But don't say, this is expensive, this certification is expensive, I cannot take it. Look for the ones that are not expensive. The goal is learning. The goal is learning. Wherever stage you are, remember we are always learning. But if you must move from being a techie to an expert, right, we have carved out the path for us. You have to learn. You have to learn. You have to learn. Now, in conclusion, for the AI part, we know that AI, like I said when we started this part, that AI is transforming PMO from reactive governance to predictive, insight-driven strategic enabler. That is what AI is helping us do, right? That is what is helping us do. It's no longer people reacting to things. People are able to predict outcomes, and because of the outcomes they're able to predict, they're able to manage risks, right? It helps people now manage risks. So AI is very important as a PMO person. Don't downplay its relevance, don't downplay its importance. And I would see each and every one of you at the top. So this brings me to the end of the training session. I do not know if you have any questions. I want to hand over to the host. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Peace, for the whole presentation. It was quite engaging and very, very enlightening. And sure, there are a bunch of questions I would like to ask from my end, and I'm sure we have some questions from the participants in the section also. So my first question is it revolves around the certification aspects of the whole thing. Like I would like to know if certification is important. Though we know that certification is important, yes, but can portfolio and past experiences substitute certification?
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very important question. Can portfolio and past experiences substitute certification? So I would not want to use the word substitute. I would use the word they complement. So what I've seen in this space, right, is there are jobs you apply to, positions you apply to that they would indicate there the kind of certifications they're looking for, right? And for some of these organizations, they see that as a very big deal. While for others, they want to see your experience and your portfolio. So the role I'm currently at, when I got the role, I didn't have the certification for the role. What I had for me was my portfolio and my experience, right? And I was able to demonstrate that when I was given the chance, right, during the interview to talk. So yes, I know that, especially in, well, some places are big on certifications, and some people are big on certifications. However, like I said, you cannot. So this is how I'm going to put it. If you pursue certification, you get a certification today, and you are given the job opportunity. Certification proves that you have the experience and you have the skill set to do that job. Certification is a complement. ideally it should complement your skill set, it should complement your experience. So anyone that sees certification today, for example, someone comes to me and shows me a PSM. What's PSM? Professional Scrum Master, PSM 1 or PSM 2, right? My assumption is that this person is a professional Scrum Master. I don't know if you got what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
My
I'm following.
assumption is that this person is the real deal. God help that person, I bring the person into the company and then the person don't know jack about it. There you say the problem, right? Certification gives an assumption of expertise, right? So if I want to throw the question back to you, I want to say, you judge, which do you think you should go for first, certifications or experience and portfolio?
Yeah, I would suggest the latter.
Exactly. So experience and portfolio will help you at this point when you're growing, right? Experience and portfolio will help you garner as much experience as you can gather, right?
Yeah.
And then certifications will follow, right? But if you can get the two at the same time, all well and good, right? There are some certifications that are not too expensive that you can get. Just get them and just know you just have them. They can get you into the room. You understand? Those ones can get you into the room. But when you are in the room, you really need to now demonstrate what your certification is trying to portray you as. That is where that experience becomes very relevant, right? So let me still bring it home for everybody. So here in Bincom, you have the opportunity to garner as much experience as possible. Do not take it for granted, right? Because at the end of the day, if you are very serious within Bincom, there is a career path in Bincom. We've showed it. I showed it to us, right? If you follow the career path in Bincom, even without having any certification, right, and you want to leave the organization and say, okay, yes, and now I want to go and get certification, you are prepared, you are ready. And also, I need to even mention that there are some certifications that you cannot even get without experience.
Okay.
Right? Some certifications will require you to demonstrate experience before you take them. So if you cannot show experience, you will not be you will not be eligible for that particular certification. So certifications should complement your experience and your portfolio. They should not replace it, and vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the answer. Like I understood everything you said. So back to the attendees in the section. Like, do you have questions? Do I still have one more question I would like to ask? So, do you have questions? You can raise up your hands. And or you can unmute and then ask the question. But I will just proceed with my last question. So, this is a bit personal though. So, I would like to ask and then know how long it took you to get to the top of your career. Like, are there some shortcuts you can recommend to, like, for us coming up, like looking back now?
Okay, so I've not gotten to the top of my career yet. I've not gotten to the top of my
Yeah,
career.
but can
But,
see,
so
okay, but I can see
I'm going to
you're at the
answer you
mentor
how long
level.
it took me. So I'm going to answer. I'm not, I'm not gotten to the top of my career. Oh yeah.
All right, all right.
Where I'm going to, we know. So, I'm going to respond like this, right? I've had a very, very interesting journey. I did not start out in the tech space, right, at all. I didn't start in the tech space at all. In fact, my very first role, right, was as a teller in the bank. That was my very first role as a teller in the bank, right? And then I knew I had a flair for business process improvement, right? But there was no way for me to transition there in the company where I was working. I was a bit stuck. I couldn't really move. So I was just looking for ways to move, right? And then I got the opportunity to leave to a role that could accommodate that, right? So I moved into, so when I'm done, I'll tell you how long it now took me to get to where I am, right? So I moved
All right.
into, I moved into the business process improvement space, right? It's called business process improvement. And there I worked as a business analyst. There I worked as a product, I wouldn't want to call it a product manager. It was 80% business analyst and 20% project manager, right? So, but my core was majorly business analysis, writing documentations, business requirement documentations, and the rest. And trust me, when I got that job, I didn't even know how to write the documentation. I just knew that document existed, but I never knew how to write it, right? But I just had to do my own personal. Remember, back to what I was teaching, year 0 to 2 foundational learning. I had to go and do my learning, right, for that particular job role. I did a lot of reading, a lot of learning as to how to write that for various organizations, right? And that helped me. So from there, I was able to now get a product manager slash business analyst role with another company again, right? That one was even more technical than where I was before. And then from there, I now got a core product manager role. Now, all these things I've said, right? It took me, I'm going to take away a year plus because I had to take a year for career. I took a career break, right? The career break was for me to go and study, because there's this buzz thing about sustainability. So I wanted to know more about sustainability. And I want to ensure that I align myself in that bit of sustainability because every business is vying for sustainability, no matter how you want to define it. So I had to take that year to go and get a master's in that, right, in sustainability. So that year, I wasn't working for a corporate firm, but I was working contractually. So I was working contract-based jobs. I just had to take contract-based jobs so that I could still remain in that my space. You understand, of product management, business analysis, product management. So those were the jobs I took around that year. So give or take, I would say to get to where I am today, it took me about 7 years, right? About 7 years. So 7 years from ground zero, right, to where I am today. And I know that, like I told you, that I've not gotten to the top of my career. Where I'm looking at now, say the top, the things, all those I still need to climb, and I'm going to climb them because we are all what learning. Like I said, we're all learning. So it took me 7 years from ground zero, right, to where I am. And I think, let me see if I can share my screen and look at, because I want us to take a look at that career trajectory that I pointed out. Okay, no, this is the one I should be sharing. Just let me know if my screen is on.
Oh, it's still loading. Oh, you can see your screen.
You can see my screen now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to that journey and let's see what I mentioned. Good. So if you look at this, I said it took me about 7 years, right, to get to where I am today. So if you look at here, it's telling you foundation is 0 to 2 years, hands-on experience within 2 years, 2 to 5 years, right, and then specialization between 5 years to 10 years, right? So I'm in this middle, right? I'm in this middle. Now, I don't need to stay long in this middle. You understand? In fact, I'm in between. I'm between this middle and then the next one, right? Because depending on how opportunities come and depending on how rapid you grow, right, you mustn't stay that long in a box or in a bucket. You understand? So my point is that this map or this journey works. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So
Yes,
this journey, so this journey works. Look at it here again. The journey works, right? So I'm in the 5 to 10 here now for this product management, the journey works. So we need to, I'm still going to emphasize the need for us to take a look at these things critically, take a look at where we are and try to map out. You understand? Take a look at where we are and try to map out, what do I need to do? He's saying beginner 0 to 2 years. I must not use 2 years. I can do this thing in 1 year and I'll move to the next level, depending on how fast I learn and what I learn. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
You understand? So that is what this thing is saying. It's not saying that you must spend 2 years as
2
a
years,
beginner.
yeah.
Neither is it saying you must spend 2 to 5 years as a proficient person. No. Depending on how willing you are to learn and how rapid you are in terms of understanding and grasping things. I hope this helps.
Yeah, it does help.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that
Right.
enlightenment. Do we have any other questions for the speaker before we call it a day? I personally gained a lot. And then to even build more on what Mr. Peace has said concerning getting in a workspace that helps build your career track, irrespective of whatever field you would like to be in. You know, become a good space to like get yourself grounded. So I'll encourage each and every one of us on this section who like isn't who have never heard of income before to make it of this opportunity and try to be in our workspace. That would really help, like one's career. So thank you so much, Mr. Peace, for your time. Though we know like it's kind of like too risky for you because of your own schedule and other activities you're engaging, but we are grateful for it. We are grateful that you creating a time for this section. We really appreciate it.
Not to mention, thank you very much. I also appreciate the opportunity. I've stretched my voice a bit. Thank you. And I also apologize for the slight hiccups at the start of the session. Right?
Oh, no,
I
no.
explained, I had some other sessions I had to close out on. So, but apologies, and I'm also very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's fine. Thank you so much, sir. And then to our attendees, thank you for attending also. So basically, we've come to the end of this section. Go on with our daily activities. Thank you once again for joining.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, Ben. Are you in the section? Hello, Ben. Are you there? Hello, Ben. You can chat. You can send a message in the chat box if you are unable to speak.